Okay, so thank you for joining me today for this presentation. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, what acupuncture is, how it works, and how it can help you improve your life. Okay. So the topics I'm going to cover, like I just mentioned, how acupuncture works, what it can treat, the various therapies of traditional Chinese medicine, and other modern natural medicine therapies. So a little introduction to me. My name is Larissa Smith, also known as Dr. Lara. I'm the owner and operator of Golden Phoenix Acupuncture and Wellness in St. Pete, Florida. I obtained my master's in Oriental Medicine and bachelor's of science in professional health sciences from East West College of Natural Medicine in Sarasota, Florida. I've been treating patients in a clinical setting since 2018, and I've been running my own private practice since the beginning of 2022. And I love what I do. I'm excited to be talking to you today about natural and holistic medicine, which I think is very much underutilized. However, more and more people are turning to natural medicine because they don't want to take all the pharmaceutical medications that they're being given by their doctors. So let's get started with the first topic, which is what is acupuncture and how does it work from an Eastern viewpoint? So traditional Chinese medicine is an energy medicine. It's based on the premise that when energy is stagnated, stuck, or out of balance in any way, we end up with disease or emotional disruption. For example, take a garden hose. When you have a kink in the line, the water backs up and the normal flow is inhibited. The qi and the blood flowing through our bodies can also fall into this example. Stagnation can lead to pain and disease. So what is qi, you might ask? So it's the energy at play that animates us or makes us alive. And each of our organs contains a unique sort of energy, and that qi travels through the body in pathways, also called meridians or channels, and there are 12 main channels. By stimulating precise points with very specific functions along these channels with sterile, single-use disposable needles, we're able to affect certain changes in the body depending on what pattern of disharmony is being treated. And by the way, the needles that I use are as fine as a cat's whisker, so they're very small. So on one hand, we can begin with some kind of emotional disruption first. If our emotions are restrained or not properly released, then disease will manifest. This is why taking time for reflection, meditation, or prayer, whichever term you prefer to use, is so important. Our thoughts and emotions are powerful, and they can literally make us sick or keep us in a state of dis-ease. According to traditional Chinese medicine theory, emotions are the #1 cause of disease. Did you know that 70% or more of all chronic physical disorders stem from mental emotional trauma? So that's really significant. So we should not dismiss our thoughts and feelings. The human body is a microcosm of the natural world. So the patterns and forces of nature that can be observed in the human body similarly. Traditional Chinese medicine uses a lot of wording that references the natural world when observing processes within the body. This is because when TCM was in its infancy, approximately 5,000 years ago in China, they didn't have much else to use as a reference. So when I diagnose a pattern of disease I observe in clinic, I use terms such as liver wind stirring blood, stomach fire, or spleen dampness, just to give you some examples. So when a patient is given a differential diagnosis based on their signs and symptoms, it points to a pattern of disharmony. A custom-tailored treatment plan and point prescription is formulated to address the root cause of an issue, not just the symptoms. What we find oftentimes is when the root cause is treated, those branch symptoms start to disappear first. So people are not compartmentalized machines. We are interconnected beings of energy. This includes mind, body, and spirit. TCM looks at the whole picture because one thing can affect another, even if they may not seem to be related at all. In TCM, 5-element theory states that each energy of the organ systems has its own corresponding emotion, season, sound, flavor, etc. You can look at this chart here as an example. So take the spleen, for example. The emotions of the spleen include worry and overthinking. Liver emotions include anger, frustration, and irritability. Emotions of the heart include all long-standing emotions. They eventually affect the heart, and it's the organ of joy or lack of joy. Lungs, sadness, grief, depression, and kidneys are fear and shock. And then when the bladder itself is out of balance, there may be negative emotions such as jealousy, suspicion, and the inability to let go of grudges. So let's take a look from a Western biomedicine viewpoint, how acupuncture works. It has been scientifically proven to release pain-reducing endorphins, affect pain perception and mood, improve circulation, and boost your immune system. The needles are stimulating the body to balance itself by complex neurochemical pathways that affect your nervous system, immune system, endocrine, and fascial planes, as well as the inflammatory process. Acupuncture is believed to have both local and systemic effects. So local effects refer to the immediate response at the site of needle insertion, while systemic affects the whole body response. So let's first take a closer look at the endocrine system. It's responsible for the production and regulation of hormones, which are chemical messengers that control many bodily functions. Acupuncture has been shown to modulate the release of hormones such as cortisol, insulin, estrogen, and progesterone. And studies have demonstrated that acupuncture can help balance your hormone levels for conditions such as PCOS, menopause, menstruation issues, and infertility. For stress reduction, acupuncture has been found to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's relaxation response. By reducing stress and promoting relaxation, acupuncture can help regulate the release of stress-related hormones like cortisol. Chronic stress can disrupt the balance of hormones in your body, so acupuncture can help restore the balance back to normal. So acupuncture also regulates release of the hormones from the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and adrenal glands. This can have an impact on various endocrine functions, including the adrenal glands' production of cortisol. Acupuncture stimulates blood flow to various organs and tissues, so improving circulation can help deliver hormones more efficiently to target tissues and organs. And enhancing blood circulation can contribute to the overall regulation of the endocrine system. And next, we're going to look at the nervous system. So in addition to endorphins, acupuncture has been shown to influence the release or activity of other neurotransmitters and hormones, including serotonin, norepinephrine, and those can play a role in mood regulation and pain modulation. Acupuncture can help block the transmission of pain signals. The gate control theory, it suggests that certain nerve fibers can interfere with the transmission of pain signals from other nerve fibers. So by stimulating those interfering nerve fibers, acupuncture might block signals from reaching the brain. And did you know that in China, patients that need open heart surgery have the option of receiving anesthesia or staying awake during the procedure and receiving an anesthetizing acupuncture protocol, which is a huge cost difference. And if you're interested in watching a documentary that shows this, you can take a look at The Science of Acupuncture by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's really interesting. All right, and so acupuncture can also influence the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary body functions like our heart beating, our digestion, and our breathing. By modulating the autonomic nervous system, acupuncture can help to induce a state of relaxation and reduce stress. Some research suggests that treatments can influence neuroplasticity, which just means the ability of the nervous system to change its activity in response to new situations or changes in the environment. And this can play a role in pain management and recovery from injuries. So brain imaging studies like functional MRIs have shown changes in brain activity in response to acupuncture. Different areas of the brain get activated or deactivated depending on the points that are used. So this suggests that a central mechanism through which acupuncture can influence various physiological processes. And lastly, let's take a look at the fascia system. So for a long time, not much attention was given to fascial planes, but we now know that the fascia is actually really important and it's very interesting. So it connects your muscular skeletal system. It surrounds every muscle, vessel, organ, bone, and various layers of your skin. So it really encompasses everything. It's a cobweb of connective tissue. It doesn't show up on MRIs, CT scans, or X-rays, but it's a massive sensory organ. It has 6 to 10 times more sensory nerves than muscles. And if you have ever handled raw chicken, you'll know that there's a whitish membrane that covers the chicken meat. That's the fascia. So the insertion of needles at specific acupoints can affect the myofascia meridians, which are pathways that connect various muscles and structures. And by stimulating these meridians, acupuncture can help regulate the tension and balance within the fascial system. Fascial restrictions or adhesions can develop due to trauma, inflammation, surgery, or repetitive stress. And these restrictions can cause pain and limited mobility. Acupuncture, along with manual techniques like myofascia release or massage, can help release these restrictions and break adhesions and restore proper movement and function. So at the site of needle insertion, acupuncture can increase blood flow and stimulate the body's natural healing processes. The fascia helps to explain why, for example, when I needle a point on the lower leg, it can help release a point at the nape of the neck. I like to call this the light switch effect. And here are just 3 examples of fascial planes in the body. So each one of these examples shows you how one part of the body can connect to a completely opposite side of the body. So yes, there are skeptics and non-believers out there that say that acupuncture does not work. However, there have been thousands of scientific studies conducted that demonstrate that when acupuncture treatments are performed, it indeed has a physiological effect on the body. And the PubMed is just one database with scientific articles. And so some people might ask, why doesn't acupuncture work for everyone all the time? So one answer to this is that perhaps the acupuncturist did not correctly diagnose the patient's pattern of disharmony, or maybe the required treatment plan was not communicated to the patient by the acupuncturist, or the patient didn't adhere to the recommended treatment plan. So if you are not willing to change your diet, your thought patterns, or lifestyle habits that may have got you into the place that you're at now, you're not going to be able to move out of that place to better health magically. So one good example I'd like to reference as to an example of how acupuncture can be demonstrated to work is when you look at veterinary acupuncture. So all different mammal species can be treated with acupuncture by a certified veterinarian acupuncturist, and these animals do show improvement. So one big question that I get all the time is, does acupuncture hurt? So the short answer is no. No, it normally does not hurt, and patients can relax during treatments. Sometimes they take a mini acu nap, as I call it, and they leave the clinic feeling good. So sometimes people feel a rush of endorphins, which I like to call an acu high. And another big question I get is, what can acupuncture treat? So the better question to ask really is, what can't it treat? So it can treat a wide variety of diseases, anything that can affect a patient's quality of life. So chronic conditions like the common cold, orthopedic, sports injuries, joint pain, digestive issues, stress, anxiety, whatever you see your general practice medical doctor for, you can also see a doctor of Oriental Medicine to be treated with acupuncture and herbal medicine. As you can see on this slide, this is a list of diseases that the CDC says acupuncture does treat. Many people think acupuncture can only treat pain or stress, but it really can treat a lot more than that, and as well be used as preventative care. Another common question I get is, how long does it take to see results? The number of treatments that a patient might require for any given condition is really going to vary from case to case, just as it would in any modality. The factors I look at, important questions to ask is, how long have you had the condition? What's the severity of it? What's your diet and lifestyle look like? What are your living conditions? Do you have any mold in your home or workplace? So there's a lot of different factors. So in an initial consultation with a patient, I ask a lot of questions and I do a thorough review of systems. So I can roughly estimate how long recovery might take. And treatments are cumulative. And there's 3 different stages. The first stage in treatments is relief care. I recommend twice a week for the first 2 weeks to start out. Then corrective care, patients get less frequent visits. And then the third stage is maintenance and wellness care. Some patients will do monthly maintenance treatment. Some will come in 4 times a year for seasonal maintenance treatments, or they'll do yearly tune-ups. So generally speaking, the longer you've had a chronic illness, the more treatments it's going to take to reverse a condition. On occasion, I'll have a patient who receives one treatment and they'll feel a 80 to 100% improvement in pain if they're coming in for a pain. But that doesn't happen in every case. So really how long it takes to see results is depending, is a case-by-case basis. And by blending Western medicine, such as lab testing and imaging, and Eastern medicine, blending those two together really benefits the patient with better outcomes overall. So there's various therapies in traditional Chinese medicine. I'll just touch on each of them. So besides acupuncture, of course, fire cupping is commonly used. It moves stagnation through the use of suction. So in fire cupping, flames are placed in glass cups to create a vacuum, and then they're quickly placed on areas like the shoulders, the back, or on the legs. So the cups pull old or stagnant blood or intracellular fluid to the skin surface so that it can be metabolized out or cleared out, allowing new and healthy blood and lymph flow to flow through the muscles and organs, creating an environment for healing. And what results can be pink, red, or even dark purple circles on the surface of the skin. It's not a bruise necessarily because we're not damaging capillaries. It's just pulling up literally just stagnant stuff from deeper layers of the skin and pulling it up. It works great for sports injuries because it helps separate the muscles and fascia, allowing knots to be worked out. It treats tight muscles in the back and legs. It can treat lung diseases like bronchitis, the common cold. It boosts your immune system and provides relief for back pain and scoliosis. Next, I'll talk about gua sha. So TCM theory believes that by using this technique, we can tease out and bring to the surface any stagnation that lies under the skin's surface, including the stuck lymph fluid, lactic acid, and the intercellular debris that I was talking about with cupping. This can leave some marks on the skin, some redness that we call petechiae. It occurs at the site of gua sha, and it usually clears up within a few days. So we're distracting the body from its injury and allowing the injured area to reduce inflammation and encourage the body's natural healing process. And the results from this therapy can be felt immediately. And most patients notice an improvement in range of motion and muscle relaxation, and it just feels really good. Next, I'm going to talk about moxibustion. So moxibustion, you'll see an example here on the bottom of the screen. It's a smokeless moxa stick in a bamboo box. So dried leaves of an herb called mugwort is lit on fire and it burned on or near the surface of the skin. It's 100% natural and safe. So we're not burning the patient, we're just using the therapeutic heat from the moxa. And what's unique about moxa is that this herb burns the hottest out of any other herb without combusting. So this allows the therapeutic heat to reach deep down into the tissues, and it's used hand in hand with acupuncture all the time in China. We can treat digestion issues, infertility, low back pain, incontinence, impotence, fatigue, and it's used for chemotherapy support, weak bones, and it can also be effective at turning a breech fetus. Moxibustion, it's a really therapeutic practice of herbal healing. Next, I'll talk about herbal medicine. So herbal medicine can be safer than pharmaceutical drugs. So one constituent in isolation versus the whole plant is the difference between a pharmaceutical medication and an herbal formula. Although it's generally considered safe, herbal medicine should be used with caution because one herb that is safe for one person could be dangerous for the next person. And also taking the right herb in the wrong dose can be harmful. Herbs are really a powerful medicine when used correctly, and combined with acupuncture treatments, it's very effective. Next, I'm going to talk about TCM food therapy, which looks at the energetics of food, how foods are prepared, how they're cooked, and suggests what is best for you depending on your individual constitution, your pattern of disharmony, and also the time of year. So it's a little bit of a different perspective than Western nutrition. Next, I'll talk about auricular acupressure therapy. So I use these things called ear seeds, and I place them on specific points on the ear because your ear is a microsystem of your body. So there's dozens of microsystems throughout the whole body. For example, the iris of the eye, that's called iridology, the palm of the hand, the sole of the foot, and also looking at the complexion in different areas of your face. Feeling the abdomen, it's called hara diagnosis, which is used in Japanese style acupuncture. That's another microsystem. And also the surface of your tongue is a microsystem. So we can look at these different parts of the body and be able to see where in your body you have an imbalance. Okay, other modern natural medicine therapies I'll talk about. First is cold laser therapy. It's really a great therapy for aches and sports injuries and arthritis. It's safe to use on the skin. It does not heat up or burn the skin. The reason it's called cold laser is because, not because it feels cold. It doesn't heat up the skin or burn the skin. What it does is it increases microcirculation, activating the mitochondria of your cells. That just means the powerhouse of each individual cell in your body. So it activates the ATP process, and it causes a decrease in pain and inflammation naturally by facilitating the healing properties in your blood to go where it needs to go to clean up intercellular debris and allow the healing cascade to happen. So it speeds up healing process. So you may have heard of the RICE method, which means rest, ice, compress, and elevate for the treatment of athletic injuries, which was developed by Dr. Gabe Merkin in 1978. Since then, it's been a pretty popular method of treatment for decades, but it's been losing its popularity. What studies have shown since then is that ice delays recovery because it slows down blood and it sends blood away from the site of application. Your blood has components in it that help heal injuries in a process called the healing cascade. So I usually recommend heat over ice for patients who have chronic injuries or pain rather than icing. And if you absolutely have to use ice, I don't recommend more than 10 minutes at a time with ice application. Acupuncture point injection therapy is something I use. It's a thoughtfully targeted method of administering nutraceuticals such as B12 and homeopathic solutions via acupuncture points. I also do minimally invasive anti-aging treatments like microneedling and cosmetic acupuncture, and also homeopathic injections superficially on the face, these are all refreshing alternatives to facelifts or Botox, which can be risky and possibly have negative side effects. Also, I'll mention a fantastic self-care app called Jing that I sometimes, it's something I give to all of my patients. And it helps to empower the patient to continue taking care of themselves after they leave their treatments with me. And one of my favorite quotes I'll share with you before we wrap up this presentation is one by Paracelsus. The art of healing comes from nature and not from the physician. Therefore, the physician must start from nature with an open mind. So Paracelsus was a Swiss physician and alchemist from the German Renaissance period. He believed that nature was the best healer and that the best results could be achieved by natural methods. So thank you for joining me today. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time that anyone might have. Otherwise, you can email any questions to me at contact@drlaursmith.com. And next month, I'll be presenting another topic. That webinar is going to discuss natural anti-aging therapies that I use in clinic and how these can help with radiant aging.